you have just recently played Cuphead.
Oh, yeah. Well, at times I wasn't sure if I was playing Cuphead or if Cuphead was playing me. But yes, I did roll credits on Cuphead last night. I freaking loved it. I gave it a 9 out of 10. Jury's still out. I may upgrade it to a 10. I'm going to be honest with you. It was fantastic. But the reputation that it has is earned, and that is that it is hard as nails.
Yes. In fact, it was so difficult that when I played it back when it first released on Switch, I think I got to the second island and then decided just to ditch on that.
Yeah, and there's 3 islands plus a finale, and the finale just has 2 fights. You maybe got close to halfway.
Yeah, probably not quite though.
Yeah. Well, then, we were talking about Cuphead quite a bit this week because I was getting completely owned by it. It kind of led us to the discussion of, can a game be too hard or what should a hard game be? And I just want to start off by saying I think Cuphead is like a perfect example of what a hard game could aspire to be.
Right, it's a hard game, but obviously like the devs meant for it to be hard,
yes.
And it's not like it's unfair hard. Everyone who talks about it, who gets through it, says like it's very hard, but if you learn it, it's not like there are cheap deaths.
Yeah, no, there's not cheap deaths. I mean, there is the occasional, like, you get a little unlucky with the RNG. Like, that's gonna occasionally happen, but I think that would happen. I think that's to be expected, is what I'm saying. But I never thought it was being unfair. I always felt like I was getting better, even if it was like an inch at a time.
About our main topic here, where we're talking about can games be too hard? I think it really comes down a little bit to what type of gamer you are and what type of games you enjoy. Because I think that even a game like Cuphead can be too hard if you are the type of gamer that comes to games for relaxation.
Sure.
Or comes to games to just enjoy yourself and maybe not have that frustration or that because what happens is if a game is too difficult for me, I start to get frustrated, I just don't want to play the game. I just don't have as much fun with games like that. It doesn't make me want to continue. Now, there are games that hit that perfect balance of being hard, but like I can see the light at the end of the tunnel, even from the very beginning. Even when I know it's difficult, I know that I can do it. And sometimes
you couldn't see the light at the end of Cuphead?
Eventually I was like, you know what?
There's no light here.
There is no good in
him.
If there was a light, it was the teensiest little light far, far away, and I was like, I just didn't want to work for it.
I never got to that point, but I did, have that one evening. I sent you a text, I think, when it's like I had a long day at school. I came home and I was like, I'm going to relax and play some video games. And then I booted up my Switch and I realized that the game I'm playing is Cuphead and that there was no realization ahead of me.
Yeah.
But I still had a great time.
Like I said, it depends on why you come to games. Why do you come to games? And if it's for relaxation or for enjoyment, some particular games just aren't going to do that.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying every game has to be a relaxing experience, because I don't always do that. But I would say the majority of the time, I go to games for an escape and for something that's going to be less stressful than my everyday life. And certainly Cuphead is not that way.
Cuphead was more stressful than my everyday life. And
yes.
My everyday life can be very stressful. I'm a teacher. Cuphead is more stressful for sure, and I definitely died more.
Oh yeah, way more than in real life. Fortunately, I haven't died in real life yet. Besides Cuphead, I haven't run across a game that was too difficult in a very long time. I think games now are just not that way.
Well, you have avoided a very prominent genre.
That is
called the Soulsborne genre.
Yes.
I have too, largely.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what do you do? But yeah, I have completely avoided these like Soulsborne games.
And they're hard.
And I haven't played any of them. I haven't played a single one of them. I played games that were kind of inspired by those and, had some elements, but no, I have not played like a true one. Now, that being said, when we get to the end of the year, I try to play every single game that's nominated for Game of the Year at the Game Awards.
Well, you're going to have to play Elden Ring.
Yeah, that I was about to say. So that means I will play Elden Ring, and I'm thinking, because I know it's a kind of a lengthy game, I'm thinking of getting a jump start on it, and just because I know it's going to be there, so I figure I might as well play it. So I'm probably going to play that one sooner rather than later. And I hear that it's a great first, Soulsborne type game to play.
It's a great game in general. I thought it was great, and I didn't think it was unfair.
Like I was saying, it seems like newish games, they really don't have this issue of being too difficult. Maybe that's because a lot of games have difficulty settings now.
You know 2 games that you can't do that on?
What's that?
Cuphead and Elden Ring.
Oh, no difficulties on those? No. Well, and a lot of games don't have difficulties.
You can make Cuphead harder, but you can't make it easier. After you beat it, you get expert mode. I think devs should make the game they want to make. If they want to make a game that's hard and they respect their audience enough to know that if they play this game, they know what they're getting into, then that's fair game, I think.
But there's a flip side of this coin, and that is, can games be too easy? I think that this is much more prevalent a problem, maybe.
Definitely.
Nintendo games are notorious for being too easy. I think that the reason that they get such a bad rap for this is because Nintendo games are not story driven. And I think games that are going to be too easy, if they're really story heavy and the emphasis is on the story, I think it's totally okay for it to be super easy. But when Nintendo does it, the story is not the focus, and it just happens to also be super easy. And it's obvious they're going for a very casual or even a kid audience.
Broad,
and that's why they're doing
audience,
it.
Yeah.
But, you know, a lot of hardcore gamers get upset about it because they don't want a game just to be easy, just to be easy.
Right. We want that like Nintendo polish, but we want a challenge.
But games that are easy, that are story driven, I have no problem with it. Take like The Quarry. That game is so easy, but it's not about difficulty. It's about the story.
Yeah, and that's also a very like different genre of game than typical. You know?
But it's just an example of like if a game has enough story, it doesn't matter if it's super easy. But you guys that are watching, you know, what do you think? What games have you played that are too hard? What games have you played that are too easy?